is enough said.
Happy Monday, Heat Nation! Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope everyone is blessed, living positively. Go ahead and spread that love by smashing that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Had a great weekend with the family. You guys was hitting the road, wrestling. Y'all know the drill, but I am excited because we're talking about Miami Heat basketball. I got a great episode for you today, you guys. Today's going to be part one of a two-part series that I want to do. Now that we got training camp less than a month away, you know, Miami Heat players are going to be competing. They're going to be battling out for some spots. And I want to talk with you guys about what you feel is some of the best lineups and rotation we have moving forward. Today specifically, I want to talk about guards because we have a lot of guards. I feel that this team is incredibly deep. We have a great 9 to 10 man rotation. We even have an incredible 12 man rotation with a mix of veterans, young players, scorers, defensive presence. I think this Miami Heat team is going to be good for the 2025 season, you guys. On paper, I like this team more than the 2023 season. And that year we went to the NBA Finals. So let's start with a few players, and I'm going to break down some of them. As we know, we have the two guys that started last year that are coming back. Herro, Terry Rozier. Anybody that knows this Miami Heat team will confidently say that that's most likely going to be the starting backcourt. Even though Heat fans and even myself don't think it's the best backcourt to start with, it is the most proven backcourt. You also have Duncan Robinson. You have Jaquez Jr. that plays the guard position. You also have Josh Richardson, who can play both the shooting guard, point guard position. And then you also have, who else is another option? Highsmith. Highsmith is a guy that can play a lot of multiple positions. So that's a few players that you can name right now. That's a few players that, in my opinion, are going to be mainly playing the guard position. Terry Rozier, Herro, Duncan Robinson, the three main guards. Jaquez is probably going to play some guard as well. Josh Richardson, we know, is a guard. And then you also have Highsmith. Now, Josh Richardson, we're not going to talk about him because he's still dealing with the shoulder injury. J. Rich may not come back mid-season. My opinion, J. Rich might be involved in some type of a trade package. It sucks, but I think I would love to have J. Rich back because he does give you a veteran presence, defensive hustle, and he can score. Averaged about 10 points a game last year. He can really help this Heat team mid-season, especially if injuries come up, which we know is going to happen. So I'm going to take J. Rich out of the equation. I'm going to talk about these five players. Herro, Terry Rozier, Jaquez Jr., Duncan Robinson, Highsmith. From that five core, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think the optimal starting lineup to get shooting and defense out there is Terry Rozier and Highsmith. I think Highsmith would be a perfect starting shooting guard because he averages 40% behind a three-point line. He has a beautiful catch-and-shoot three-point percentage. He's great with the corner three. He's also the best defensive player from those five guys. Starting next to Bam and Jimmy Butler as the shooting guard, I think would work. But we need more three-point presence out there in the starting lineup. If you have a lineup of Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jovic, Jimmy Butler, Highsmith, and Terry Rozier, nobody is really known as a three-point specialist. So that's why Duncan Robinson comes into play as the starting shooting guard next to Terry Rozier. With Duncan Robinson and Terry Rozier in the backup, we saw it a few games last year. It worked. Defensively, though, it does pose a problem because of those two players, Terry Rozier is your best defender. That's the reason why I like Highsmith as the starting shooting guard because no matter who the Heat play in the backcourt, Highsmith will guard the best player. So even if you're playing against Memphis and Ja Morant is the point guard, that's going to be who Highsmith defends. I think Highsmith sits best at that position. However, it does pose a risk offensively. Even though I feel that Terry Rozier, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo in the starting unit is good enough as offensive players, but still, you don't have that three-point sniper. And something that I've noticed in the past, Duncan Robinson specifically, when he starts next to Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, he plays a lot better. When he comes off the bench, he's playing usually with different players. Duncan plays great with Jimmy and Bam because they allow him to space the floor. Especially with Terry Rozier out there. You gotta respect Terry Rozier's offense, as even Nikola Jovic. So that's a starting five that offensively can compete with one of the best in the NBA. Bam, Jovic, Butler, Duncan Robinson, and Terry Rozier. Now you also have Tyler Herro. I mean, that was the original starting lineup. That's probably the starting lineup that's going to be out there. But notice this is the third option that I'm giving, simply because I feel that Terry Rozier and Tyler Herro are pretty much the same player. Defensively, offensively, they have a very similar game. So having both guys out there starting together, I don't think that'd be the best fit. I think one of those guys need to come off the bench. I prefer it to be Tyler, because Tyler has proven that he can be an incredible defensive player. His first 3 years in the NBA, he was a six-man candidate every year, won the award in 2022. So I think I think Tyler fits best coming off the bench. But you can start Tyler with Terry Rozier. I mean, we didn't really see a lot of it last year, so we don't know if it truly works or not. But if you have a lineup of Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Herro, and Terry Rozier as your big four starting out there, well, in my opinion, you're going to need Kel'el Ware to start with them for defensive presence down low. It's not going to work with Nikola Jovic. Terry Rozier and Tyler Herro in the backcourt can work. It can. You just need to cover it defensively. Nikola Jovic out there doesn't make any sense, because now you're having defensive liabilities. But if you start Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo as the 4 and the 5, Jimmy Butler as the 3, those three guys defensively are going to cover it for you. Terry Rozier can hold his own defensively, and Tyler Herro's not terrible. So that starting lineup is the optimal lineup if you want to start Terry and Tyler backcourt. But there's one more guy, Jaime Jaquez Jr., our second-year player who stand out as a rookie last year. Our guy that is a Swiss Army knife, can do a lot of things offensively and defensively. He's working on his three-point shooting. He's working on his defense to get a lot better. He might be an optimal target at the shooting guard position next to Terry Rozier. Now, the problem with starting Jaime, though, you guys, I prefer Jaime to come off the bench for Jimmy Butler. Jaime and Jimmy have a very similar game. So if you're starting both of them together, who's going to be the Swiss Army knife off the bench? You can say Haywood Highsmith, but he doesn't have an offensive game like Jaime. A Swiss Army knife is a guy that can do everything. That's Jaime Jaquez Jr. So when Jimmy Butler comes off the bench, you have another Swiss Army knife coming in. Especially the games that Jimmy doesn't play, you want Jaime starting in that spot. Let's not forget, you also have guys like Alec Burke, Josh Richardson, who's coming back, that are going to fit into that guard rotation. Alec Burke is another guy that I completely forgot to mention, but Alec Burke stepped up last year. He can find himself in this role as well. So I want to hear from you, Heat Nation. Who do you think would be the best starting backcourt for this Miami Heat roster? And explain why. Because if you think it's Jaime Jaquez and Terry, or Tyler Herro and Terry Rozier, or Duncan and Terry Rozier, let me know why. Let me know in the comments your thought, Heat fans. Don't forget to like the video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow we'll be doing part 2, going on to forwards. And then we'll be doing part 3, obviously, with centers. Or maybe we'll just do a front court. Let me know what you guys prefer. Do you want to have front court, forwards, and centers? Or would you like me to do a second episode forwards, third episode centers? Could be pretty interesting. So let me know in the comments, you guys. You got your thoughts, you guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing to 5,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for this continued support. And until next time, your boy Ernest out. That's enough said. Yeah, buddy. Let's go.